lawyer, no be pharmacy, oh. I wanna be a doctor, no be pharmacy, oh yeah. I wanna be a banker, no be pharmacy, oh. I wanna be a teacher, no be pharmacy, oh yeah. You must study hard, oh my God, where I get it gone.
Hello everyone, my name is Mr. M.A. Kingsley, aka the online tutor. Now before I proceed, I would like to introduce some vital mathematical formula and some key points that learners need to master in order to overcome most of the challenges they are going to come across. Now the first one here says for them to find the area, the area of a rectangle. They say you have to multiply the length times breadth. To find the length of a rectangle, you divide the area by breadth. To find the breadth of a rectangle, we say area divided by length. To find the area of a square, right, we multiply the length times breadth. Now to find one side of a square, then they have to find the square root of the area given. Now to find the perimeter of a rectangle, we say 2 open bracket length plus breadth. Now to find the length of a rectangle, when perimeter is given, we say length is equals to perimeter divided by 2 minus breadth. Now to find the breadth of a rectangle, when perimeter is given, we say breadth is equals to perimeter divided by 2 minus length. Now let's look at the second one here, right? To find the perimeter of a square, we say one side times 4. That is one side of the square given multiplied by 4. Now area of 4 walls is equal to perimeter times height. Area of a trapezium is equal to half times A plus B times H. Now volume of a cylinder is equal to pi r square h, meaning 22/7 times r square multiplied by h. Now for average, we say sum of items divided by number of items given. Now volume of a solid is equal to length times breadth times height. Length of a solid is equal to volume divided by breadth times height. For breadth of a solid, we say volume divided by length times height. Now for height of a solid, we say volume divided by length times breadth. Now for us to find the area of a triangle, we say half base times height. Now area of a parallelogram is equal to base times height, right? Now area of a circle is equal to pi r square, meaning 22/7 times r square. Now circumference of a circle is equal to pi b or 2 pi r. Yes, here we have two formulas for it, meaning that if you are given diameter, we use the first one. If you are given radius, we use the second one, right? Now for diameter of a circle, we say circumference divided by pi. For radius of a circle, we say diameter divided by 2. Now to find simple interest, we say principal times rate times time over 100. For principal, we say interest times 100 divided by length times time. Now for rate, we say interest times 100 divided by principal times time. For time, we say interest times 100 divided by principal times rate. For gain, we say gain or profit is equal to selling price minus cost price. Profit percent is equal to profit divided by cost price times 100 over 1. Of course, you cannot find the profit percent without knowing your profit. Now for loss, we say cost price minus selling price. For loss percent, we say loss over cost price times 100 over 1. It is not possible to find the loss percent without knowing your loss. Now for selling price, we say gain plus cost price. For cost price, we say selling price minus gain or profit. Now sum of a triangle is equal to 180 degree. Sum of a circle is equal to 360 degree. Angle on a straight line is equal to 180 degree. For distance, we say this speed times time. Average speed is equal to distance divided by time. For time, we say distance divided by speed. Now let's quickly look at test of divisibility. Right now, the essence of this is to enable pupils to divide numbers, that's to divide whole numbers without having issues in terms of factors, using factors to divide. Now if a whole number must be divided by 2, then they should consider if the first figure is an even number. They must use 3 to divide a whole number. They should consider if the sum of the figure is divisible by 3. If they are going to use 4, they should consider if the last 2 figures are divisible by 4. If they are going to divide a whole number using 5, then let them consider if the last figure is 0 or 5. Now if they are going to divide a whole number by using 6, then let them consider if it is divisible by 2 and also by 3. Now using 7 to divide a whole number has no specific rule. All what they need to do is to test and see if it can divide. But a situation whereby it cannot divide, they will continue looking out for factors that will enable them to divide it. Now if they are going to use 8 to divide a whole number, they should be able to consider if the last 3 figures are divisible by 8. Now if they are going to use 9 to divide a whole number, then they should consider if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. Now for 10, they should consider also if the last figure is 0. Now let's look at some of these key points, right, before we proceed to the main question. Right, learners need to understand how to convert kobo to naira. Of course, as you can see here, I've given out the value of kobo in naira. I've given out the value of milligrams in gram. I've given out the value of grams in kilogram. I've given out the value of kilograms in ton. Right. So these will enable them, learn how to convert in order to get a final answer to the questions. And also they should learn how to convert millimeters, right, in centimeter, right, how to convert centimeters in decimeter, how to convert decimeter in meters, meters to kilometers. Now area, they should learn how to convert square millimeters to, in square centimeter. They should learn how to convert square centimeters to square decimeter, how to convert square decimeter to square meters, and so on and so forth. Right, this conversion is very, very essential. It's going to guide them and help them in looking out for solutions to most of the questions they are going to come across. Now let's look at time. It's obvious, we all know that 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute. At the same time, 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour, 24 hours is equal to 1 day, 7 days is equal to 1 week, 30 days is equal to 1 month, 12 months or 365 days is equal to 1 year. Then 366 days is equal to 1 leap year. 10 years is equal to 1 decade. 100 years is equal to 1 century. Right? Now paper measures. Right? Here we say 24 sheets is equal to 1 cube. 20 cubes is equal to 1 ring. Right? 10 rings is equal to 1 bale. Now measure of numbers. Right? 12 units is equal to 1 dozen. Right? Now for gross, we say 12 times 12, that is equal to 1 gross. And what's the value of 1 gross? 144. 20 units is equal to a score. Now hour, right, learners, or probably will I say pupils, should be able to learn how to convert minutes to hour, right? This will help them in working out for the solutions to most of the questions. Yes, we said 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour, but the situation whereby the time given to them is in minutes, they should learn how to convert it to hour, right? Just as we have done here. 45 minutes is equal to 3 over 4 hour. 30 minutes is equal to half hour. 20 minutes when converted to hour, it will give you 1 over 3. and so on and so forth. Now the second one here is day. Here we said 24 hours is equals to 1 day, 20 hours is equals to 5/6 day. That's when converted to day. 16 hours, when you convert it to day, it will give you 3/4. That is the hour given to them divided by the number of hours we have in a day. Of course, the answer is going to come out as a fraction. Then they can use it to find the solution to any question that has to do with that. Now, yes, we said 365 days is equals to 1 year. 292 days, when converted to year, it will give you 4/5 years, and so on. They need to learn how to convert all this. It's going to help them. Now, for gross, we said 144 items is equals to 1 gross. Now, if an item is being given, and of course probably they need to multiply it with a particular number, and it might require conversion of such item to gross. They need to learn how to convert to gross by dividing that item with 144 to get the answer in gross. Now let's look at Roman numerals. Pupils need to master their Roman numerals, starting from 1 to at least maximum of 3,000. Right? Now here they can master it based on units, tens, 100, and also 1,000. It will enable them to solve issues or questions that has to do with Roman numerals without doubt. Now, square of numbers, right? They should be able to know the square of numbers starting from 2 at least down to 25, right? It's going to help them in overcoming most of those challenges. Now, days in the month. Here we say 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except February alone, which has but 28 days clear and 29 in each leap year. They need to understand all this, right? It's going to help them to overcome most of those challenges. Now, let's look at the first question. The first question says, write in figures 1,020,017. Now, here comes the solution, right? First thing we need to consider is the first number, million. How many digits does a million have? Million has about 7 digits. Yes, it has 7 digits, right? 1 followed by 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 alongside with the 1, right, making 1 million. Now, aside from writing it out, they need to group these numbers in order to get it right. Now, starting from units, tens, 100, 1,000, tens of thousand, 100 of thousand, and million. Group them, right? Units, tens, 100, comma, thousand, tens of thousand, 100 of thousand. You place your comma. The second one is 20,000. So I am going to arrange my 20,000 starting from tens of thousand, comma, followed by 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. The third one is 17. 1 and 7. So where is it going to fall to fall to the tens and units? 1 and 7. So you can now bring them down. 7, 1, 0, comma, 0, 2, 0. Bring down your comma, and you have 1 here, right? So we have our answer as 1,020,017. Of course, this first comma here represents million, and the second comma here represents thousand. Right, so let's quickly look at these options. Our answer is option A. Now let's move to number 2. Yes, let's move down to number 2 question. Now write down in words 370,894. Right, now let's look at the solution to this question. Yes, we have 370,894. If you look at this question, right, we don't have a comma there, right, because it was not given. First, you need to group it, but before grouping, you need to identify their place value, right? Units, tens, hundred, thousand, tens of thousand, and you have hundred of thousand. Right, now the next thing to do is to group. Unit, tens, hundred, replace your comma. Right, the comma there represents thousand. Now let's write this in words. We say 370,000. 370,000 comma 800 and 94. Now let's look at our option here. We have our option as option B, 370,894. Now let's move down to number 3. Right? What is CLXII? If you remember earlier, I said learners need to, master their Roman numerals, starting from units, tens, hundred, and thousand. Here we have this as CLXII. It's been written in short form, so we need to write it in expanded form. We are going to expand this number. Now, how do we do that? We are going to expand them based on their value. We have C plus LX plus II. Now it's been written in expanded form, right? Now let's break this down. C means what? 100 plus LX is equals to 60 plus II means 2. Now we are going to write the numbers this time in short form. So we have it as 162. That is 162. Right? Now let's look at the options. 162. Our answer is option B. Right? Now let's move to number 4. Find the value of open brackets 1.7 close bracket raised to power 2. Now, first thing is first. Here we need to, understand that what the question says is to find the square of 1.7, meaning 1.7 multiplied by 1.7. Now, the best way to multiply decimal numbers, right, is to convert the numbers given, the decimal given, to fraction. How do we convert this to fraction? Now, looking at this 1.7, it has one decimal number, so we are going to count one decimal point. The point here represents 1, followed by what? 1 0. The same thing happens here, right? The decimal will give you 1, followed by this. So we have 7/10 as fraction multiplied by 17/10, right? Now, what we need to do is to multiply, and 17 multiplied by 17 will give us 289. Sorry, I beg your pardon. 289 over 100. Here we don't even need to, divide. All what we need to do is to convert it back to decimal by counting 2 decimal places, because we have 2 zeros. 1, 2. So we have our answer as 2.89. Beg your pardon. 9. Let's look at this. Let's go back to the option. I have our answer as option B. Right? Now, let's proceed to number 5. Yes, here we are being told to do what? Evaluate 0.126 times 0.04. Let's move down to solution to this. Right? How do we start, working on this? First thing we need to do is to consider the fact that this first number has 3 decimal numbers multiplied by 0.04. 0.04 has 2 decimal numbers. Like I said earlier, there are other ways of multiplying decimal fractions, right? But I believe the best way to do it is by converting the decimal numbers, right, to fraction. How do we do that? We have 3 decimal numbers here, so we are going to count 3 decimal points. 1, 2, 3, right? The last decimal here will turn out to be 1, and these numbers here will be represented with 3 zeros, right? So we have it as 126 over 1000, right? Multiply by, you do the same thing here, because we have 2 decimal, we count 2 decimal places, 1 0 0. So we have here as 4 over 100, right? Now multiply these 2 numbers, we're going to have 504 over 100,000, right? 1 0 0 0 0 0, right? So we're going to have 100,000 now, right? To give us 100,000, what is the next thing to do? You convert it back to decimal, right? Now, how many decimal points are we going to count? Consider the number of zeros you have here: 1 2 3 4 5. So we're going to count 5 decimal points. Now let's go. 1 2 3 4 5. So we have our answer as 0.00504. Our answer is 0.00504. 0.00504. Now, what option do we have here? Let's go back and check. We have option E as our answer. Now, let's proceed to number 6. A woman bought 15 oranges for 150 naira and sold them at 12 naira each. What is her percentage profit? Now, let's quickly look at the solution to this question. Right? Now, considering the fact that bought, the word bought, right? Bought means cost. Sold means what? Selling. A selling price. Right? And we said earlier that if we must look for percentage profit, we must first of all know our profit, right? And profit is equal to selling price minus cost price, right? If selling price minus cost price, fine. How do we know our selling price? Now, knowing that the cost of one orange is 12 naira multiplied by the number of oranges that we have there, and that is what? 15. 12 times 15 will give us that will give us 180, right? We are going to have 180 naira as our selling price minus the cost price. The cost price is 150 naira, right? Now 150 naira, right? Beg your pardon. This will give us 150 naira, and when you subtract it, we'll have our profit as 30 naira. Now we'll find out our profits. So profit percent is equal to profit over cost price times 100 over 1, right? We say 30 naira, beg your pardon, 30 naira over cost price 150 times 100 over 1. Now, it's either we reduce the fraction. It's possible. Naira, what? Cancel naira. 0 will cancel 0. 3 here, 1. 3 here, 5. 5 here, 1. 5 here, 20. Right? Now, 1 times 20 is equals to 20. 1 times 1 will give me 1. So, we have our answer as 20 cents. Now let's go back to the option. 20%. What option do we have here? We have option C. Now let's proceed to number 7. Now determine the sum of the LCM and H.C.F of the following numbers: 8, 12, and 16. Let's quickly look at the solution to this. How do we do this? Now, sum means plus, like we all know. Difference means minus. Share means divide. Product means what? Multiply. So since sum means plus, we're going to say LCM plus H.C.F. Now let us find the LCM of this same number and also find the H.C.F of the same set of numbers. Now we have 8, 12, right? Beg your pardon. We have 8, 12, and the last number is 16. So which factor can divide this? We can use 2 to divide. We give us 4 here. We have 6. 2 in 16 will give you 8. Fine, we can equally use 2 to divide. 2 here, 2. 2 here, 3. 2 here, 4. We can still use 2, right? To continue dividing. 2 in 2 will give me 1. 2 cannot divide 3, you bring it down. 2 cannot divide 2 in 4, right? Will give me 2. I can still use 2. 2 in 1 is not possible, you bring it down. 2 in 3 is not possible, just to bring it down. 2 in 2, 1. Now we can't use what? 2 to divide rather than to use what? 3. Right? 3 in 1, 1. 3 in 3, you have 1, 1. So the next thing is to multiply. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. This will give us 48, right? Plus, let's find the H.C.F of the same set of numbers. Are you with me? Now we have 8 here, 12 here, 16. Right? First we need to start with 1. Why are we starting with 1? Because 1 is the only factor that can go in them at the same time without, you know, any remainder. 1 in 8 will give me 8. Right? 1 in 12 we have 12. 1 in 16 will give us 16. So now the next step is to look for a factor that can go in the 3 set of numbers without any remainder, right? And what number can go in this number without any remainder? We can start with 2. 2 here, 4, right? 2 here, 6. 2 here, 8, right? Which other number do we have? Do we have any other number that can go in this? Yes, we do. And that is 2. 2 here, 2. 2 here, will give you 3. 2 here, will give you 4. Right? Now, looking at this number, we have 2, 3, 4. I don't think there's any factor that can go in this set of number, right? 2, 3, and 4 at the same time without any remainder, right? Now, since we don't have it, we will multiply our factors. 1 times 2 times 2, and that will give me 4. So we say 48 plus 4, that is equal to 52, right? We have our answer as 52. So what option do we have here? Let's go back to the question. Option C, right? 52. Now let's move to number 8. Given that A is equals to 6, B is equals to 7, and C is equals to 4, what is the square root of 3A plus 2B plus C? Let's proceed to the solution to this, right? Now we need to understand that the number given to us here, 3A, simply means 3 times A plus 2B. This means 2 times B will give you 2B plus C, right? Now the first thing is to write this in expanded form. Open bracket, 3 times A, close bracket, plus, right? Open bracket, 2 times B, right? Plus, close bracket, C. The value of A is 6, so we say 3 times 6 bracket plus, open bracket, 2 times B. What's the value of B? 7. Close bracket, plus c. Value of c is 4. Now let us multiply this. We say 3 times 6 will give you 18, plus 2 times this will give me 14, right? Plus 4. And when you add this up together, we're going to have 36, right? One side is equal to 36. So now the question says, what is the square root of the number given? We found the value of the number, right? And that's 36. Now we now say the square root of 36 is equal to 6, right? So let's go back to the option. Our option here is option C. Now let's move to number 9. Number 9. Odiri bought 14 loaves of bread of the same size for 1,260.0 kobo. How much will 3 loaves cost? Now let's look at the solution to this. Fine. 14 loaves of bread, right, is equals to 1,260, right? The cost of 14 loaves of bread is equals to 1,260. Now before we proceed, first thing, we need to find out the cost of 1 loaf of bread, right? Cost of 1 loaf of bread is equals to, we say 1,260 divided by 14. That will give us the cost of 1 loaf of bread, right? Now let's use 2 here, 7, 2 here will give me 6, right? 2 here, 6 will give you 3, 2 here will give you 0, 7 here 1, 7 here will give you 9, 7 here will give you 0. So cost of 1 bread is equals to 19 naira, right? Cost of 1 loaf of bread is equals to 19 naira. Fine. We found the cost of 1 bread, right? As 19 naira. So we're going to say 3 loaves of bread. Are you with me? Beg your pardon. 3 loaves of bread is equals to 19 naira, meaning that's the cost of 1 bread multiplied by 3, and that will give us 270 naira as the cost of 3 loaves of bread. And what option do we have here? Option E. Now let's look at number 10. The angle of a triangle are y, comma, open brackets, y plus 12, right, open brackets, y plus 18. Find the value of y. Now let's proceed to the solution to this. Now if you recall earlier, I said sum of a triangle, sum of a triangle is equals to 180 degrees, right? So first thing we need to do here is to use this to find the value of y. How are we going to do that? First we need to arrange our numbers, the numbers and letter given. We say y degree plus open brackets y plus 12 close bracket degree plus open brackets y plus 18 close bracket degree. Now here we need to collect, the first step is to collect the light time by saying y plus y degree plus y degree plus y degree plus 12 degree plus what, 18 degree plus 12 degree, 18 degree, right? Y plus y is equals to 3y plus 12 plus 18 will give us 30 what degree equals to 180 degree, right? Now how do we do that? We're going to say 3y is equals to 180 degree minus 30 degree and that will give me 50. That will give me 50. You subtract it, you have 50 degree equals to 3y. Now what is the next step? You divide both sides by 3, right? When you subtract it, you have 150. You have 150 divided by 3, so we'll say 3y is equals to 150 divide both sides by 3. 3 and 3 will give you y. 3 and 15 will give me 5. 3 and 0 will give me 0. So we have it as 15. Right? We have it as 15. So the value of y is equals to 15. What option do we have? Let's go back to the option. Yeah. Right, the value of y is equal to 15. Now let's proceed to number 11. Right, the value of h square is equals to dash. We all know that h square simply means, right, h square simply means 8 times 8, and that will give me 64. Right? What option do we have? We have option D. Now let's proceed to number 12. A cigarette box is 5 meters long, 3 meters wide, and 2 meters high. Find its volume. Now, if you recall earlier, I said the volume of a solid, right, is equals to length times breadth times height. The length is 5 meters multiplied by breadth. The breadth is 3 meters multiplied by height, 2 meters, right? So if you multiply 5 meter times 3 meter, that will give us 15 meters square multiplied by 2 meter. We'll have our final answer as 30 meter cube, right? And let's go back to the option. What option do we have? We have option E, right? Option E. Now let's quickly look at number 13. Number 13. Which of the following statement about a square is false? Right? Now this is a square, right? And we are going to talk about the properties of a square, right? Now the first one, we said it is a four-side plane figure, right? And we also said all the angles are equal, right? All the sides are equal. It is a special case of rhombus. Now if all the angles are equal and we have an option that says none of the angle is less than 90 degrees, so I don't think that none of the angle is less than 90 degrees since all the angles are equal. So now let's look at our option. What option do we have here? We have option D, right? We have option D as our answer. Now let's look at number 14. The H.C.F of 8 and 14 is dash. Solution, right? Here we need to find the factors of 8, right? If you don't want to use that method, we can equally use a method, right? A short form of finding the HCF without looking for factors of 8 and 14, right? 8, 14. We first of all start with 1 because 1 can divide them without any remainder, right? So remember that whenever you are looking for HCF of set of numbers, remember to start with 1. 1 in 8 will give you 8. 1 in 14 will give me 14. Now let's think of a factor that can go in these two sets of numbers at the same time without remainder. We can start with 2. 2 can go in it. Here we have 4. Here we have 7. Now over here now we have 4 and 7. We don't have any factor that can divide them at the same time. So what do? We multiply our factors. 1 times 2 equals to 2. So our H.C.F is equals to 2. So what option do we have? We have option A, right? Option A. Now let's proceed to number 15, right? What is the product of 0.4 and 0.05? Remember earlier I said what we need to do whenever we want to multiply decimal numbers, right, or decimal fractions. First thing we need to do is to convert these numbers. And here we have one decimal number, so we're going to count one decimal number, right? The last decimal point will be 1 followed by 0 because we have one decimal number there, multiplied by 0.05, right? How many decimal do we have here? We have 2, so we're going to count 2 decimal points, right? 1, 2. Now the decimal number here will be 1 followed by 2 zeros because we have 2 decimal numbers. So what do we have? We have 4 over 10 multiplied by 5 over 100. Now 4 times 5 will give me 20 over 1000, right? Now we can cut this. 0 cancels 0. Now what do we have here? We have 2 over 100. So we are going to count 2 decimal points. 1, 2, right? With the 0, we have our answer as 0.02, right? Now let's quickly look at, before we look at number 16, let's pick our option, right? Let's pick our option A, right? Now let's look at number 16. Number 16, right? Number 16. The area of a square block is 225 centimeters. Find the value of each of its sides. Yes. Now let us look at a square. Here the area is given as 225 25 centimeter, right? So now recall that I said earlier that the area of a square is equal to length times breadth, right? Now one side of a square is equal to find the square root of the area given, and here, so we say the square root of 225 is 15 centimeter, right? It's 15 centimeter. Now, what option do we have here? Option D. Now, let's proceed to number 17, right? Number 17. The area of the floor of a room is 1,200 meters square. Calculate the length of its breadth, right? Calculate the length if its breadth is 30 meter, right? Now let's look at the solution to this. Here the area of the floor of a room is 1,200 meters square, and the breadth is giving us 30 meter, right? Now here the formula says the length of a rectangle, right, of a rectangular shape is equal to area divided by breadth. So what do? We're going to say area, right, L being the length, is equal to A divided by B. A is equal to 1,200 meter, right? 1,200 meter divided by 30. So we say 1,200 divided by 30. 0 cancels 0. We have 120 divided by 3. 3 here 1. 3 here 4. 3 here 0. So our length is equal to 40 meter. What option do we have? 40 meter. We have option C. Now let's proceed to number 18. Now the area of the floor of a dance hall is 2,700 meters square. Now the length of it is 90 meter. What is the width? Now another word for width is also known as breadth, right? So now we are looking for the breadth, and we all know that for width we say width of a rectangle, right, is equal to area divided by length. Here the area given to us is 2,700 divided by, right, divided by what? 90, right? So we say 2,700, right? 2,700 divided by 90. 0 we cancel 0. We have 270 divided by 9. 991. 9 here give me 3. 9 here 0. We have an answer of 30 meter. Right? What option do we have? Go back to the option E, right? Now let's move to number 19. Right, find the area of a square whose perimeter is 30 centimeters. Let's look at the solution to this. First step we need to consider is to recognize the formula. Now perimeter of the square is equal to one side times 4, and the perimeter has been given us 60, right? 60 centimeter is equal to one side. Now since we are looking for one side, let that one side be x times 4. X times 4 will give me equals to 4x 60 is equals to what? 4x. Divide both sides by 4. Right? 4 will cancel 4, you have x. So 4 here, 1, remainder 2. 4 in 20 will give me 5. So one side of the square is equals to 15. Now, knowing fully that one side of 8 is 15, and we are asked to find the area. So area of this square is equals to A is equals to length times breadth. That is 15 times 15, and that will give me 225 centimeter square. Right, as our final answer. Now let's quickly pick our option. What the options we have? We have option C. Now let's look at number 20. Find the area of the following rectangle. Right here, the length has been given to us as 6.5 centimeter, and the breadth has been given to us as 4.2 centimeter. Now, first thing we need to do here is to recognize the formula, right? We need to recognize the formula of this shape, right? And the formula says area of a rectangle is equal to length times breadth, right? A is equal to, right, L times breadth. The length is 6.5 centimeter multiplied by 4.2 centimeter. Like I said earlier, the best way to multiply decimal numbers is to convert the numbers to fraction. Here we have one decimal, so we're going to count one decimal. We have this as 10, that is 65 over 10. Convert the second one, we have one decimal, so we're going to count one decimal point. The point will turn to 1. Then any other number you have on that will be 0, so we have 42 over 10. Now, we all know that 10 times 10 will give us 100, and 65 times 42 will give us 273, right? 73. Now, what is the next thing to do? We, sorry, beg your pardon. There's a little mistake here. This, when you multiply this, you have 2,730, right? Now you cut 0, you have 273 over 10, right? Now over 10, what's the next thing to do? You count one decimal point, right? That is this. We have 27.3, right? 27.3, and we have it as what option? We have our option as option B, right? 27.3, option B, right? Now this is the last question, right? But I would also like us to watch this video, right? You watch it over and over. Of course, more of it's on its way, right? And at the same time, learn to master the formulas, not just the formula only, but those key points is going to help you, a long way. It's going to help you achieve a lot. Thank you. I remain your humble Mr. M.A. Kingsley, the online tutor.
Esta chupanda que yo che tocó, kàwé, kàwé, kàwé. Ọmọ kàwé o, kàwé o, kàwé. Má kàwé, kàwé, kàwé. Ọmọ kàwé o, kàwé o, kàwé. I wanna be a lawyer, no be formality, oh. I wanna be a doctor, no be formality, oh yeah. I wanna be a banker, no be formality, oh. I wanna be a teacher, no be formality, oh yeah. You must study hard, oh my God, we are getting gone in. Come and share the web, nile ayé tí o wá. Kó má ṣàkó bàtà fáwọn ọ̀rẹ́. Ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe pàtàkì ó ṣe kókó. Àyàyà. Ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe pàtàkì ó ṣe kókó. Ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe pàtàkì ó ṣe kókó. Àyàyà. Ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe pàtàkì ó ṣe kókó. Má kàwé, kàwé, kàwé. Ọmọ kàwé o, kàwé o, kàwé. Má kàwé, kàwé, kàwé. Ọmọ kàwé o, kàwé o, kàwé. Ṣo fẹ́ dolówó bíi ti Dangote? Ṣo fẹ́ dọlọ́lá bíi ti Fẹ́mi Ọ̀tẹ́dọ́lá? You must read your books. Go má kàwé ẹ gidi gan ni. Time waits for nobody. You must make it white sunshine. You must study hard. Mo máa kàwé ẹ gidi gan. Ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe pàtàkì ó ṣe kókó.